Everyone sees him as like a pioneer in the space. The other thing I was going to talk about today was somewhat drama related, but Adin Ross has been unbanned. I know a lot of you guys have been demanding my take on this, and I don't really have a take on it, honestly. I don't know what the Twitch was thinking. I hope that he doesn't violate the terms of service in the most egregious ways that he had been if he was on Twitch for the past 2 years. Wait, did they reban him again? No. They rebanned him already? I don't think that's the case. There's a Adin Ross cousin account with 281,000 followers, but I don't think he's banned. This is what Cinna said apparently. Look, I'm in a unique predicament here because, like, obviously deplatforming, aggressively, people have come after me to try to deplatform me. Having said that, there are understandable enforcement decisions that platforms need to take. If you're constantly having Nazis on your platform, that's like not just clown behavior. That's something that, like, obviously no one wants to have on their platform with the exception of Kick. Okay. And considering that he was still doing that trolling up until recently, I don't think that he is like genuinely changed. I love a positive story. I love a story about someone who goes, you know what? I fucked up. I'm reformed. It's going to take a long time for someone like myself. Not that it matters, clearly. It's not like Twitch comes to me with these decisions, you know? But at a time when the right-wing media landscape is so dominant everywhere, and we have incredibly right-wing content creators in general popping off on Twitch to begin with, the very fact that Twitch is making this decision is a statement in and of itself. I love reform. I love a story of reform. I tried to stop Adin Ross from going down this incredibly right-wing rabbit hole that he went down to the best of my ability. But post Andrew Tate, it was over. It was never happening. But I mean, he's done virtually every bad decision you can take. He's done all of that. I mean, he recently had Andrew Tate on he paid him money to be on his platform on Kick. And I mean, he's done a metric ton of awful shit. And there's not really much I can say or do about this process. I hope that he is more limited. I hope that he is limited in what he can and can't say now that he's on Twitch. Maybe that's the silver lining. Maybe I'm just like desperately looking for a silver lining here because I just can't comprehend why a company that ostensibly cared about what kind of content is allowed on the platform would make a decision like this. He's probably going to do safe streams on Twitch and be edgy on Kick. Yeah, but even then, do you not think this was going to happen? You act like there isn't a rightward shift. No, I see that. No, I do see that. Look, people will say, Hasan, you're biased. Hasan, you're woke. Hasan, you're gay. Whatever the fuck, okay? I just don't want other content creators to get destroyed by this kind of toxic behavior. Okay, that's it. I think outside of like being woke, there's an environment of toxicity associated with these guys that are like serial harassers, serial doxers, incredibly toxic. And it completely rips apart the remaining semblance of community that Twitch has had as opposed to other platforms like YouTube. The Adin Ross community was huge, but has also changed as people like the FaZe Boys have grown, as they all came from the same community, but they have different viewers and stances now. It's whether Adin wants to entertain a Jason viewer or just edgy bullshit. Yeah, that's what I worry about, though, because it's so alluring to be edgy because it's like the most bottom of the barrel content. It's so hacky. You have two directions that you can go in. You can be a positive force and try not to be like as racist as you once were, or you can just be unshackled and unrestricted and be as racist as possible. Like there's different directions you can go towards. And I fear that a lot of, especially young content creators, are very malleable and they'll see the growth and they'll lean into that. They'll lean into that easy content, easy slop, you know? Because every time you go and collab with any of them, most of their chat hates you. I don't even think that's true. That's not true either. How? They don't push their views onto their viewers? What do you mean? Their viewers have these views. Why do we not just shit on these people like 100 at all times? I don't get the streamer universe where everyone is kind of charitable to each other. The stakes are so low no matter what. Because we're powerless, dumb. Do you not see this? Do you not understand? That's why it's laughable when other content creators will be like, Hasan controls Twitch. He controls Twitch. He dominates Twitch. Twitch runs on his opinions. Like, clearly not. Okay. No, big disagree. There's a big difference in not having a say on whether or not he's unbanned and openly saying, I don't know, maybe he changed, good luck. Yeah, I think these are people that just don't want the endless torrent of hate coming their way. Doxing, swatting, shit like that. Because let's be real, Adin Ross entertained that for years. He actually, he literally, he hyped it up. He loved that shit 100%, and he got rewarded for it. And he never actually turned around and said, yeah, maybe this is not the way to go. Hasan, I like your mansion. Thanks, man. Adin Ross literally said he would give $1 million in cryptocurrency to anyone who finds dirt on me. That's the type of shit he was doing. And that was not that long. It was a couple months ago. And that was because he was mad at me for recognizing that he was violating FEC laws on a stream that was viewed by hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, where in broad daylight, he offered Donald Trump a watch that was infinitely higher than the individual campaign contribution that you can engage with. Like, that was him doing that. Me calling that out is not the reason why the FEC saw it. The FEC saw it because you did it on your stream. Yeah, it wasn't even dirt. He didn't even offer $1 million in cryptocurrency, which is bullshit to begin with. Here it is.
Oh my God, Hasan, I cannot wait for that. Oh, bro, I'm
like, this is insane, dude. This is insane behavior.
Yo, I'm praying to God your shit leaks this year. I will pay $1 million. Whoever finds the shit on him, $1 million. Swear to God, I locked.
I'm sorry, but I'll be honest with you. For every single content creator that sees this and still cozies up to Adin Ross, like, they're cowardly. Okay, that's it. And this is everybody. Okay, everybody. Yeah. Everyone sees him as like a pioneer in the space. Everyone sees him as a big content creator that they like to be around. They don't think about what, other content creators face in the process of like allowing this kind of torrent of hatred. Why does he hate you when you've been exceptionally charitable and inviting to him? Because hating me is a symbol that you're on the not woke side. That's what it is. Yeah. So I feel like this type of behavior at a certain point was like checked by our social boundaries. It's really fucked up.
I'm praying, bro. Aladar, I know.
Yeah. The issue is these dudes say so much bullshit that move on and repeat and doesn't get enough coverage. XQ goes, yeah, that's too edgy to racist shit, Asman and Adin says, and then spends 1 week talking about Hasan. Exactly. It's all of these other content creators that also, that are apolitical or whatever that also lean on that, where it's like those are the dudes that, like, the XQs and the Asmongols of the world will be like, yeah, this is free speech, yeah, based, or every now and then when they push it too far, we'll go, oh, that's too edgy, but then they move on, but then they spend a week and a half talking about like me saying cracker or something. You know what I mean? Like, that is the environment that we have all played a role in cultivating at this point, and it's not one that is nice. It's not one that's positive. It's not one that is nice. It's one that is so unimaginably toxic that it actually harms the very same Twitch streamers that like lean in on it and even recognize that it fucks them over too, but they're too cowardly to put their face and name out there. They just want to be an asshole without any accountability whatsoever. And they think that this is a decent freedom, even if it like inevitably blows up in their own faces. Because like every streamer gets doxxed and swatted and have to deal with like psychos and stalkers and shit like that. But then when you turn around and like lean into a streamer that is pushing their fans to engage in this sort of behavior, you're basically saying like, no, this is permissible, this is allowed, this is good. So the problem is not just about political opinions and whatnot. Even though that in and of itself is like really fucked up, What is this in a clip? I don't know.
People are saying, sadly, people can change. You know what I mean? Hopefully, like, he doesn't keep baiting, the white supremacists, everything like that. I think people can change. You know what I mean? I think he did shitty stuff before. Hopefully he changes. If he doesn't, then I'm sure Twitch will deal with it. You know what I mean? But hopefully he does. I don't think that half the stuff he does, you know, would be allowed on Twitch anyway. So, you know, it kind of is what it is. It's one of those things.
No, this is wrong, by the way. The assumption that, like, is Twitch brain dead? Here's the least lame thing I could find. Here's the least tame thing I could find. You know how much more shit there is that journalists are going to write about? They're not going to do it. The media has completely stopped reporting on this stuff. They don't give a shit. There aren't that many right-wing trackers to begin with. But I mean, think about it. This isn't even about Adin Ross. What I'm talking about is not Adin Ross at all. This is a much larger problem within media right now, is that in the post-Trump second term universe, like how much stink is being brought up about people who are overtly anti-Israel being disappeared off the streets for no crime whatsoever. Like, there's a reason. There's very, very little motion on this. Yeah. Asmongold, when Adin Ross is unbanned, Twitch only cares about feedback and advertisers. Asmongold, when Hasan is unbanned, incoherently ramble. Okay,
they don't care about bans. They only care about feedback and advertisers. So if they can keep somebody unbanned and not lose advertisers, then they'll do it.
I mean, he's not wrong about this take, by the way. He is. He is right about this.
That's the only thing that matters. So yeah, that's it. My point is they have no consistency or principle. No, they don't. The only consistency or principle they have is doing whatever the public wants in a way that's beneficial for themselves.
Yeah. I mean, he's not incorrect about this assessment. And he's basically saying that, like, Twitch makes this calculated decision to unban Adin Ross because they don't think that, like, no matter how toxic Adin Ross is, or no matter what he has done in the recent past, it's a different universe now. Like, culturally, we're in the post-woke era where any expression of toxicity, any expression of right-wing sentiment, any expression of saying, like, woke people is not gonna, especially by institutions, is not going to cause a lot of harm. Yeah, they're looking at the situation with Adin Ross and saying, like, yeah, he's no longer as scary of a person to have on the platform because it won't harm our bottom line, is the way they see it. I think that's what it is. Yeah, I mean, guys, Donald Trump was on his broadcast. That's a legitimizing factor. It is interesting to streamers come out to bat for him hard when their audiences hate Adin. Like, Rage has been at the forefront of him getting unbanned, but YRG itself hates Adin. Maybe it's misplaced loyalty or just a desire for more clout. No, it's not a desire for clout. I mean, I think a lot of streamers just genuinely like Adin Ross. Like, sometimes streamers are different behind closed doors. I'm sure he's, like, very nice. I mean, he was very kind when I hung out with him, but that was before he became this, like, right-wing demon. But I'm sure that that attitude hasn't changed. But yeah, of course the fan bases don't like him because they see only his output. The things he said and done aren't deal breakers for his friends. I mean, I think there's also an element of fear there too. There's an element of fear. What, you think most streamers don't know what Adin Ross is up to, or what his community did for years and years? They know. Adin himself is aware of this. Adin himself is literally aware of this, where he was like, that's why I'm deleting my Twitter comms. I'm deleting my Twitter comms because my Twitter comms are just, like, constantly doxing people. And I know that it's, like, me over because other streamers are afraid of my community. That's it. They're so insanely insane. Like, it's not just trolling. It's just, like, straight up not shit. I think some streamers don't consider it to be a deal breaker. Other streamers are genuinely afraid of the backlash. Because, I mean, look at this. Like, think about it. I say this stuff instantly. There's chatters in here being like, nice house, by the way. You know, your house looks really nice. Why do you think they're saying that? Where do you think that comes from? What do you think that implies? Immediately, they just have one button, which is I'm doxing you and I'm swatting you. That's the one button. Understandably, other streamers don't want that smoke at all. What is this? Adin ban also opens up conversations like this. Oh, I'm sure they'll say, why isn't Destiny unbanned? Yeah, exactly. Asmongold is curious to see what will happen with Destiny after the Adin Ross unban. Responds to chatter who brings up Destiny's pending court case. No universe where Adin Ross didn't do something worse than Destiny in America, innocent until proven guilty. Yeah, of course. Fuck it, dude. Just unban everybody, you know? YOLO.
Right now, I'm really curious to see if they're going to unban Destiny.
I'm telling you, all these motherfuckers hate me more than anything else. They certainly hate me more than they hate each other. One must ask the question, why? Is it because I am the evil villain that they have presented in their communities? Or maybe is it because I actually do call people out and have a relatively large community because I do care about these things? There's no one more dangerous than someone who actually cares about the values that they espouse. You're so obsessed with what people think about you that you will talk about people hating you for minutes on end just to fill time. God damn, it's the worst part of your stream. We're currently talking about a bunch of like a pretty prominent figure being unbanned.
There is no universe where Adin Ross didn't do something worse than Destiny. Literally no observable universe in which Destiny was worse than.
I think it's very similar in terms of the toxicity, in terms of the overall harm to like random content creators in general. Yes, their operational methods are pretty similar. It's not incorrect. Yeah. Going after content creators, going after people that are in the trust and safety side of things. Like Destiny, I would go so far as to say is like gone above and beyond, even beyond what Adin Ross has done. Adin Ross, as far as I know, has not tried to like dox people that work at Twitch directly. Having said that, on the politics front, yes, of course, Adin Ross has significantly worse statements than even Destiny.
We'll see what happens. Not with a pending court case. I think that Twitch might not unban him for that reason. They're concerned that basically, and this is the issue.
No, dude, I don't think that's the reason. I think it's beyond that. The big difference here is that like the Your Rage and XQCs and the Kaisen ass of the world were not actively petitioning to unban Destiny in the way that they were with Adin Ross. There's also an environment of normalizing Adin Ross's politics right now that's happening all around. Asmongold himself reflects maybe not to the same overt degree, but like there's certainly a association with right-wing politics that is no longer seen as like harmful or toxic. That's, I think, where this is coming from. I mean, the dude interviewed the president, you know? Okay, dude, you must be joking. DGG is 100 times worse human being than Adin. No, Adin's community and Destiny's community do the exact same shit. That's why they're so harmful. Adin, on the other hand, in terms of politics, is also incredibly right-wing. Both of these communities do very similar things. In terms of individual politics, however, like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but one is like an overtly collaborating with Neo. The other one at least like seemingly debates them, you know, even though behind the scenes, it seems that he's doing a lot more than just debate them. He's getting real cozy with them. I mean, both are still incredibly toxic and engage in the same exact actions in terms of doxing, swatting, brigading.
Yes, I'm gonna just talk about it real quick, bro. Adin got unbanned, okay? And my comm, the face comms is going crazy right now, bro. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it.
Do you think he deserves a chance to change? Yes, dude. Everybody deserves a chance to change. It's just a matter of like if it's real or not. You know what I mean? My fear is that he has not changed and he won't. As a matter of fact, he collabed with like Andrew Tate last week. All around the world, we're looking at like why the youth are so right wing, and then you know we just normalize this kind of behavior. It sucks, but I do want him to change. I do want him to be a positive force, 100%.
And I just want to say this, bro. Okay, listen. Oh wait, the comms have been going apeshit, bro. All right. Hashtag fence sitter, bro. I'm not gonna fence it. I'm gonna say exactly my opinion, bro. And Davis, you keep getting on my, bro. Me personally, me and Adin never had a problem, bro. Me and his comm though, it's still AR loyals. They're weird, bro. I'm not gonna lie, they're still weird to me.
Yeah, Adin's fan base is so insanely toxic, and everybody knows it. By the way, everybody knows it. Make no mistake. From Your Rage to all the FaZe boys, like every single person knows this shit. Okay, through and through. That's the reason why he had to delete his Twitter comms in general to say like, I'm turning over a new leaf. But I think a lot of people don't understand that like he developed this community off of the shit that he was saying and doing. It's not like these guys, randomly encountered him and were like, this is awesome. How in the hell he has a fan base? You got to be brainless. Yes, dude, there's a lot of people who are. And no, I don't think that XQC is avoiding Adin Ross. I think XQC wanted him to be unbanned. They said that over and over again. What are you talking about? Yeah.
But me and Adin personally, I had no problem with Adin ever, bro. So stop painting the narrative that we are beefing, bro. That's not a real thing. Okay? So chill out with the Aidens, all right? I've always, as y'all know,
I feel like it started as a bit, then ran a bit far too long, and now he actually believes it. Dude, if you expect any content creator to come out and actively say what I'm saying right now, you're delusional. At most, the expectation will be silence, okay? That's it. Nobody wants that smoke. I don't think you guys understand. Like, I'm thinking about the damage overall of this sort of behavior getting normalized and shit, but like, there's a reason why people don't talk about Destiny either, because people understandably don't want random psychos to ruin their lives online. That's it. And these guys are rabid. They're anonymous. It doesn't matter. Most people don't want the smoke. And even if people say, like, even if people gently say something along the lines of like, I hope he's reformed, people will still go after them aggressively.
But I do think it's like Twitch permanently banning people is always bad. You know what I mean? Even if you don't like a person, it's always bad, you know, as long as you can hopefully grow from it and change, that's what's better. Now, I do say that loosely, but like, you know, then there's streamers like Johnny Somali that exist, and, you know, let's be real. Let's keep him far the away from Twitch.
If their livelihoods didn't depend on it, more probably speak out. No, it's not even clout. It's just their, you know, it's their safety.
Please, for the love of God, like, you know, that's holy dude. Let's keep him far away.
It's safety. Hot topic employee opinion. This ain't about getting unbanned. It's about what he does now. And like Cinna said, if he slips back in the old patterns, which better have the spine to shut it down. Accountability doesn't end when the ban does. Cinna in this moment. Yeah. Twitch streaming ain't a human right, in my opinion. It's not. I'm of two minds on this, obviously, because like, look, I can't be advocating for heavy-handed censorship, at least in this time and in this place, okay? Because that is quite literally what virtually all of these content creators have demanded from Twitch, constantly being like, look at the inherent hypocrisy and, you know, keeping Adin banned, but then keeping Hasan unbanned. Like, that's literally what Sneeko is saying. Think about that. Everybody constantly talks about the hypocrisy. Why is it hypocritical? Because I have a position on you know, political issues that they can manipulate into being far more radical. When I say, like, I don't think apartheid is appropriate, you know what I mean? I've always maintained a policy of not going after individual content creators or like unleashing my audience upon them. Although this is a sizable community. And yet every step of the way, from the likes of Adin Ross and Sneeko and even the likes of Ethan Klein, for example, or Destiny, these guys have never stopped doing that. They just very openly were like, this guy sucks, go after him aggressively, and sometimes even openly say that they want to, you know, brigade other content creators. It is what it is. I will still maintain my principles regardless, but, you know, I don't see anything beneficial from this unbanning happening. I think that it'll just like make Twitch an even more right-wing, more toxic area. Having said all that, I do hope that Adin has, I guess, learned some lessons, and we'll see, I don't know, the direction that Speed has taken, right? That's why I like Speed so much, because I Show Speed could have turned out exactly like Adin. They are friends, and they were friends, and he did do a lot of like crazy shit when he was like 17, 16, right? But look at where he is now. Okay, look at where Kai is now. That's it.